Yes, you guys, I'm sorry. We have to talk about this hair-dyed, melted gargoyle because his speech last night at Trump's Nazi rally was so incredibly racist and dehumanizing to the Palestinians. These things need to be discussed. They need to be called out. They need to be documented. The dehumanization of the Palestinians is so insidious and disgusting and pervasive and ubiquitous in our society. And the reason why people get away with it and why it is so normalized is because of the fact that their dehumanization is done in the name of Jewish safety. That weaponization is the reason why it's not called out more. So let's watch parts of this disgusting, grotesque piece of shit who should actually, why aren't you in jail? Why aren't you in jail? Like, I don't understand. This loser creep was disbarred. Like, you can't even practice law anymore because that's what a criminal loser you are. But Trump loves a rerun. So let's get into it. And of course, he starts with 9/11 because of course he does. Anybody who knows anything about Rudy Giuliani knows that basically he took 9/11 and turned it into a whole ass career. He's literally spent the last 24 years profiting off of 9/11.
September 11 was our darkest hour. October 7 was Israel's darkest hour. They are our best friend. I worked for Ronald Reagan for 8 years. Ronald Reagan said, we have to be there for Israel always because they are always there for us.
Pause it right there, Grandpa. First of all, best friend to who? What the fuck have they ever done for us? Seriously. What have they done for us? Continuing to insist that the Israeli regime are our best friends is just deep state propaganda. And you want to talk about Ronald Reagan? Yeah, let's talk about Ronald Reagan for a second. Ronald Reagan, who was one of the worst presidents of the last century, told them to wrap it the fuck up when they were attacking Lebanon. This archive is from 1982 in the New York Times. The Israeli regime was doing what they do, attacking innocent civilians in land that isn't theirs, and they were bombing Lebanon, and Reagan was concerned by the fact that the images coming out of it were so horrific, he was like, you need to wrap it up. This article goes through a play-by-play of what happened. Mr. Reagan finally reaches Mr. Begin, who was the prime minister at the time. Mr. Begin then calls President Reagan back to say that a complete ceasefire had been ordered. There's been a lot of reporting on that over the years. Reagan was basically like, you're fucking done. And so the prime minister was like, great, I guess we have to be done now. So if you are really wanting to follow what Ronald Reagan did in this instance, when it comes to the Israeli regime, you might want to remember Lebanon.
Hamas is not there for us. Iran is not there for us. They want to kill us. And the Palestinians are taught to kill us at 2 years old.
They want to kill us. When has Hamas ever attacked America? Just wondering. When has that ever happened? Because I know that you love to talk about 9/11 and exploit 9/11, but 9/11 was carried out by Saudi Arabia and Osama bin Laden, who was incidentally a Saudi. But no one ever wants to talk about that because they're also our ally. So this whole they just hate America and want to get, that's literally just made up. That's just made up. Yeah, a lot of them don't like us, but that's because we're always attacking them. We're always bombing them. We're always invading their countries. We're always empowering the Israeli regime to attack them and protecting them when they break international law. If it were any other country, there would be no settlements in the occupied West Bank. None. Those settlers are there illegally. They are terrorists. The IOF going there and protecting them and defending them, they are terrorists. We would never allow that in any other country. We would be in there. We'd invade them. But when it comes to the Israeli regime, we protect them while they commit that terrorism. So this is actually just projection. It's as usual, every accusation is a confession. And the thing about Hezbollah and the propaganda that the Israeli regime repeats over and over and over again is that when someone repeats a lie over and over and over again, you really do start to believe it. I have heard forever, my entire life, that the Palestinians basically don't learn anything in school except to hate and want to kill Jews and to hate Christians and Americans. It's literally made up. First of all, you'll learn if you actually learn about Palestine that they're some of the smartest people in the world. They learn engineering and shit, okay? They're doctors and dentists and academics and lawyers. Like, they value education. They're fucking smart people. This lie that is so pervasive oppressive in the West, that we're taught that they're just these barbarians that don't learn anything in school except for hating America and hating Jews, is just made up. It's just a lie. And actually, as per usual, it's projection, because it's actually the opposite. It's what happens in Israeli schools. Second-class discrimination against Palestinian Arab children in Israeli schools. Oh, would you look at that? They're accusing Palestinians of what they do. This is video you can find on X or any other social media of a bunch of Israeli teenage boys singing "May Your Village Burn" about Palestinians. They quite literally indoctrinate their children into hating Palestinians. So once again, what he's saying and what you hear all the time in the US and in the West about how they teach their children to want to kill Americans and Jewish, it's just made up. And they made it up because it's what they teach their children.
They won't let a Palestinian in Jordan. They won't let a Palestinian in Egypt. And Harris wants to bring them to you.
No, she's not proposing that.
They may have good people. I'm sorry, I don't take a risk with people that are taught to kill Americans at 2.
That's another racist, genocidal line that you hear a lot from people, that you've heard a lot since October 7th. You hear, oh, the Palestinians are so evil. They're so uniquely bad that none of the other surrounding Arab countries want them. Jordan won't take them. Egypt won't take them. That's a lie. It's made up. It's just another piece of propaganda that is repeated ad nauseum in the West to indoctrinate people into believing that they're uniquely dangerous. But you know who else said that in history? You knew where I was going with this, didn't you? People should definitely read this article, The Ship of Jewish Refugees That Nobody Wanted. On the 13th of May in 1939, more than 900 Jews fled Germany aboard a luxury cruise, the SS St. Louis. They hoped to reach Cuba and then travel to the US, but they were turned away and forced to return to Europe, where more than 250 were killed by the And that's not the only time that this happened. There were multiple times that ships tried to come to the US and we turned them away and they ended up being killed. And what was the reason that was given back in the 30s for turning them away? No one wanted them because they were uniquely bad. Understand that when you hear people say that about the Palestinians, they are literally repeating talking points. The same dehumanization that was done to Jewish people, that same playbook is done to the people of Palestine.
Harris wants to bring them to you.
No, actually, she doesn't.
They may have good people. I'm sorry, I don't take a risk with people that are taught to kill Americans at 2.
And a few things there. Number one, he's making that up. Kamala Harris hasn't said anything in defense of the Palestinians or wanting to allow refugees from Gaza here. I wish she would. If they're gonna let Palestinian refugees come to America, tell me where the fuck they're coming. I'll sign up to volunteer. But I love the idea that they even want to. Who the fuck said Gazans even want to come here? These morons are always like, you can't come here or go back to where you came from. They don't want to come here, okay? They want to stay. That's kind of the whole point of Palestinian resistance, is fighting their homes and their homeland being taken from them. They want to stay there. They don't want to come here. Why the fuck would they want to come here?
I'm on the side of Israel. You're on the side of Israel. Donald Trump's on the side of Israel. And they're on the side of the terrorists.
Donald Trump stands with Israel. Yeah, we know he's a bootlicking to the Israeli regime. You don't need to remind us. He's like trying to convince them too. He's like, you're on the side of Israel. You are, right? Yeah, you are. It's so transparent. And just the open racism of, I'm sure some of them are good people, but I'm not going to take that risk. We're on the side of Israel and she's on the side of the terrorists, which again, open racism. He just said, I don't want to let them in, meaning Palestinian people, Palestinian civilians. And then he conflates that with terrorism. Like they use the word Palestinian and terrorist interchangeably. Insane fucking racism. We need to really update the word terrorist in the Western dictionary, because what terrorist actually means in the Western dictionary is just Arab person. That's all it means. Whenever they want to dehumanize someone, they want to dehumanize an Arab. In this case, they want to, and have wanted to for decades, to dehumanize Palestinian people. They just call them terrorists. You know, when we do actual terrorism, it's not. You know, it's a just war. It's protecting people. It's self-defense. To the West, calling someone a terrorist just means they're Arab. So anytime you hear them say that, you hear them say that they're terrorists, or you see this disgusting fake tan foreskin calling Palestinians terrorists, just understand it's projection, and they will call anyone who is brown and from the Middle East that.